welcome back to another food history video. My name is Liz. I'm here with Jefferson Patterson Park and Museum, and we are partnering with the Great Maryland Recipe Hunt to talk all about the history of food. And this month we're talking about everyone's favorite food, chocolate. Now, not many people know this, but Theobroma cacao, the chocolate tree plant, actually was domesticated in South America, and then it spread northward into the Mesoamerican region. And actually it was originally used, the pulp around the seeds were used to make a fermented drink. Now it's kind of interesting that we figured out how to use chocolate, because the chocolate beans have to be fermented and then roasted in order to get that specific chocolate flavor. Now, after you have the beans fermented, roasted, you're ready to start preparing them, so they need to be ground. Traditionally, a tool called a metate was used, and they are still used quite a bit in Mexico today. But if you want to try this at home, I definitely recommend using a blender rather than a groundstone tool. Now, the word cacao is actually from the ancient word for the plant cacawa, and we know that it was a very important part of the Mayan culture. It's mentioned in the Mayan creation myth, along with several other mythological stories. And it was prepared as a drink that would be eaten at festivals, ceremonies, rituals, any kind of important event. The archaeology of chocolate is actually pretty interesting. It was a tradition among the rich upper-class Mayans to have these really elaborately decorated drinking vessels. It's debated whether or not people actually drank out of them, but they would be very decorated, and they would have on them the name of the person who owned them. And they would even have written on them what was held in that container. So we have things that say it is his chocolate cup, basically. And from this we know that they were actually mixing chocolate with a lot of other things. Spices like achiote, chipotle, chili peppers, all those kinds of things were getting mixed in with the chocolate, as well as sometimes honey or sweet flavors. And also, the most common one was maize or corn. They would grind up corn into a paste and mix it with a chocolate paste and make a drink out of it. Now, the traditional way to mix it was to pour it back and forth between two different vessels, and it would get really frothy and foamy that way. I definitely recommend using a blender. It was traditionally done with just room temperature water. But if you're going to try and make this yourself, definitely use hot water, because it's much easier to mix up. And there's actually still a very strong chocolate tradition throughout Mesoamerica and South America. So there are still a lot of drinks today that are descendants of those ancient chocolate drinks. Things like tascalate, pozol, chorote, and tejate are all drinks that are still found throughout Mexico that are like the drinks you could have had 3,000 years ago. Alright, and that is all for this month. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the Great Maryland Recipe Hunt and submit your recipes. The website is, as always, below. And we'll see you next month. Hated. That's not how I want to say it. No, oh, man. No, what's the... Okay.
Do me a favor, close your eye.
The chocolate tree?
Chocolate plant.
The chocolate plant?
Even if it's a tree, it's still a plant.